Hello, everyone. So I'm live. I'll be going through the FreeCodeCamp content, and I just want you to know that if I can do it, you can too. So let's get started. Front-end development libraries, because I did some of the HTML, the other one, but I know most of that content. This is new to me, so this is why I'm really taking my time with this. Bootstrap is a front-end framework used to design responsive web pages and applications. It takes a mobile-first approach to web development and includes pre-built CSS styles and classes, plus some JavaScript functionality. In this course, you'll learn how to build responsive websites with Bootstrap and use its included classes to style buttons, images, forms, navigation, and other common elements. Okay, let's get going. In the HTML5 and CSS section of FreeCodeCamp, we built a cat photo app. Now let's get back to it. This time, we'll style it using the popular Bootstrap responsive CSS framework. Bootstrap will figure out how wide your screen is and respond by resizing your HTML elements, hence the name responsive design. With responsive design, there's no need to design a mobile version of your website. It will look good on devices with screens of any width. You can add Bootstrap to any app by adding the following code to the top of your HTML. Okay. I don't know if we're supposed to do that. Oh, in this case, we've already added it for you behind the scenes. Note that either this tag or this tag to close the link is acceptable. To get started, we should nest all of our HTML except the link and style tag in a div element with the class container fluid. Except link and style. Okay. So starting with H2. Oh. Woohoo. Oh. Okay. First, add a new image below the existing one. Set its source attribute to this. Add a new image below the existing one. I don't know if we need an A, but we just need an image. It would be great if this image could be exactly the width of our phone screen. Fortunately, with Bootstrap, all we need to do is add the image responsive class to your image. Do this and the image should fit perfectly. Do this and the image should perfectly fit the width of your page. Nice. Now that we're using Bootstrap, we can enter our heading element to make it look better. All we need to do is add the class text center to our H2 element. Oh. Nice, nice, nice. Normally, your button elements with the BTN and BTN default classes are only as wide as the text they contain. This button would only be as wide as the word submit. By making them block elements with the additional class of BTN block, your button will stretch to fill your page's entire horizontal space, and any elements following it will flow onto a new line below the block. Add Bootstrap's BTN block class to your Bootstrap button. The BTN primary class is the main color you'll use in your app. It is useful for highlighting actions you want your users to take. Replace Bootstrap's BTN default class with BTN primary in your button. Note that this button will still need BTN and BTN block classes. Bootstrap comes with several predefined colors for buttons. The BTN info class is used to call attention to optional actions that the user can take. Create a new block level Bootstrap button below your like button with the text info. Then add Bootstrap's BTN info class to it. Note that these buttons still need BTN and BTN block classes. I'm not going to copy and paste. We're going to actually type everything out. Bootstrap comes with several predefined colors for buttons. The BTN danger class is the button color you'll use to notify users that the button performs a destructive action, such as deleting a cat photo. Create a button with the text delete and give it the class BTN danger. Bootstrap uses a responsive 12-column grid system, which makes it easy to put elements into rows and specify each element's relative width. Most of Bootstrap's classes can be applied to a div element. Bootstrap has different column width attributes that the uses depending on how wide the user's screen is. For example, phones have narrow screens and laptops have wider screens. Take, for example, Bootstrap's call mid star class. Here, mid means medium, and star is a number specifying how many columns wide the element should be. In this case, the column width of an element on a medium-sized screen, such as a laptop, is being specified. In the cat photo app that we're building, we'll use call extra small star, where extra small means extra small, like an extra small mobile phone screen. And star is the number of columns specifying how many columns wide the element should be. Put the like info and delete buttons side by side, nesting all three of them within one div class equal row element, then each of them with a div class extra small 4 element. The row class is applied to a div, and the buttons themselves can be nested within it. Nice. The role class is applied to a div, and the buttons themselves can be nested within it. Yeah. We can clean up our code and make our cat photo app look more conventional by using Bootstrap's built-in styles instead of the custom styles we created earlier. Don't worry, there'll be plenty of time to customize our CSS later. Delete the red text P and small images CSS decorations from your style element so that the only decorations left in your style element are H2 and thick green border. Then delete the P element that contains the dead link. Then remove the red text class from your H2 element and replace it with the text primary class. Finally, remove the smaller image class from your first image element and replace it with the image responsive class. You can use spans to create inline elements. Remember when we used the BTM block class to make the button fill the entire row? That illustrates the difference between an inline element and a block element. By using the inline span element, you can put several elements on the same line and even style different parts of the same line differently. Using a span element, nest the word love inside the P element that currently has the text things cat love. Then give the span the class text danger to make the text red. Here's how you could do this for the P element that has a text. Oh. We will make a simple heading for our cat photo app by putting the title and relaxing cat image in the same row. Remember, is a responsive grid system which makes it easy to put the elements into rows and specify each element's relative width. Most of Bootstrap's classes can be applied to a div element. Nest your first image and your H2 element within a single div class equal row element. Nest your H2 element with a div class equal column extra small 8. And your image in the div class extra small 4. Font Awesome is a convenient library of icons. These icons can be web fonts or vector graphics. These icons are treated just like fonts. You can specify their size using pixels, and they will assume the font size of their parent HTML elements. You can include Font Awesome in any app by adding the following code to the top of your HTML. In this case, we've already added it for you to this page behind the scenes. The I element was originally used to make other elements italic, but is now commonly used for icons. You can add the Font Awesome classes to the I element to turn into an icon. For example, I. Notice that the span element is also acceptable for use for icons. Use the Font Awesome to add a thumbs up icon to your like button by giving it I element with the classes FAS and FA thumbs up. Make sure you keep the text like next to the icon. Your icon element should have a closing tag. Okay. Oh. Wow, that's creepy. Font Awesome is a convenient library of icons. These icons can be web. Okay. Use Font Awesome to add an info circle icon to your info button and a trash icon to your delete button. You can use Bootstrap's call extra small star classes on form elements too. This way, our radio buttons will be evenly spread out across the page, regardless of how wide the screen resolution is. Nest both your radio buttons within the div class equal row element. both. Oh. Then nest each of them within a div class equal extra small 6. Since Bootstrap's call extra small classes are applicable to all form elements, you can use them on your checkboxes too. This way, the checkboxes will be evenly spread out across the page, regardless of how wide the screen resolution is. Nest all 3 of your checkboxes in a div class equal row, and then nest each of them in a div class equal extra small 4 element. Excuse me. You can add the FA paper plane font awesome icon by adding this within your submit button element. Give your forms text input field a class of form control. Give your form submit button the classes BTN and BTN primary. Also give this font awesome icon of FA paper plane. All textual elements with the class of form control have a width of 100%. All right. Now let's get your form input and your submission button on the same line. We'll do this the same way we have previously by using a div element with the class row and other div elements within it using the column extra small star class. Nest your form's input and submit button within the div with the class row. Nest your form's text input within the div with the class of column extra small 7. This is the last challenge we'll do for our cat photo app for now. We hope you've enjoyed learning font awesome Bootstrap and responsive design. Oops. Now let's build something from scratch to practice our HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap skills. We'll build a jQuery background, which we'll soon put to use in our jQuery challenges. To start with, create an H3 element with the text jQuery playground. Color your H3 element with the text primary Bootstrap class and center it with a text center Bootstrap class. Now let's make sure all the content on your page is mobile responsive. Let's nest your H3 element within the div element with the class container fluid. Now we'll create a Bootstrap row for our inline elements. Create a div element below the H3 tag with a class of row. Now that we have a Bootstrap row, let's split into two columns to house our elements. Create two div elements within your row, both with the class column extra small 6. Bootstrap has a class called well that can create a visual sense of depth for your columns. Nest one div element with the class well within each of your div elements. Now we're several div elements deep on each column of our row. This is as deep as we need to go. Now we can add our button elements. Nest 3 button elements within each of your div elements having the class name well. Oh. Bootstrap has another button class called BTN default. Apply the BTN and BTN default classes to each of your button elements. Not every class needs to have corresponding CSS. Sometimes we create classes just for the purpose of selecting these elements more easily using jQuery. Give each of your button elements the class target. Recall that in addition to class attributes, you can give each of your elements an ID attribute. Each ID must be unique to a specific element and only used once per page. Let's give a unique ID to each of our div element classes. What? Oh, let's give a unique ID to each of our div elements of class well. Give the well on the left well. Give the well on the right the ID of right well. For the sake of clarity, let's label both of our wells with their IDs. Above your left well, inside its column access div element, add an H4 element with the text left well. Excuse me. We will also want to be able to use jQuery to target each button by its unique ID. Give each of your buttons a unique ID, starting with target 1 and ending with target 6. Just like we labeled our wells, we want to label our buttons. Give each of your button elements text that corresponds to its ID selector. When we start using jQuery, we will modify HTML elements without needing to actually change them in HTML. Let's make sure that everyone knows they shouldn't actually modify any of this code directly. Remember that you can start a comment with this and end a comment with this. Add a comment to the top of your HTML that says code below this line should not be changed. Excuse me. Yay! And that's it. So it took us about almost 45 minutes, but we got through all the content. So I look forward to seeing what you do with it. And it's your turn. Toodles.